thank you for joining me for another episode of this little science experiment that I'm running. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. I am currently at 10 subscribers, which is more than my last video, and I'm hoping that in the beginning of each video, or podcast, depending on how I decide to package it, I will have more subs than the last time, so that at the end of the day, when I've come a long way as I am hoping to manifest to, you'll be able to see my growth, and it's just a lot more validating that way. So hopefully it doesn't backfire and I wind up having like 20 videos in a row that are just like, hi, I have 10 subscribers and 0 subscribers on Patreon. I'm not really trying to sell subscriptions to my Patreon because I feel that there's just not enough content on it. I think I have maybe like somewhere around a dozen blog entries and not much else, but the problem is I won't be able to figure out how to Patreon until I have some subscribers to really give me like the guinea pigs that I need to play around with the Discord chat community that comes along with it and the free gifts that I'm promising. I really can't offer any of that to full fruition until I have some subs on Patreon. So in my bio on YouTube or in the description on this video, I'm not sure where, but somewhere I will link my Patreon, and if you're curious, I invite you to come check it out. When I do write blogs on it, I am trying to share a little bit more about who I am and my backstory, but there's also insight into my process and the progress I'm making in my art career, including some of the downfalls, and maybe I'll start entering more blogs on there that coincide with these videos about the true crime that I'm covering. You may notice that my recording quality at times is kind of subpar, and that is because I am sitting in my car recording on a $40 pair of Skullcandy headphones that have a built-in microphone. This is also my setup when I'm recording vocals, and my neighbors think that I am very weird, but that's their problem because this is what works for me, and those same neighbors also complain about noise if I try to do anything like belt a song out in the house. So, you really can't win when you're surrounded by Karens on all sides. If I may be so bold as to continue speaking what I want into the universe, I am hoping to manifest a studio space to get enough Patreon subscribers that I have a steady income through this and my art alone, so that I can actually focus on this and my kids. I would get a studio space for my art and my music and for producing my podcast. I would have a backdrop that I designed as a tapestry on the wall. There would be strings of lights. It would be a vibe. Mark my words, I will either achieve this or I will die trying, because this has been my dream for many years. I took a lot of time to go on Skillshare and to buy books and to do so much extra stuff to really prepare myself to take the step, just to fully understand the ins and outs of the algorithm, ways that I can and should promote myself, how other YouTubers have got to their levels of success, how to properly brand myself, how to properly edit videos and extract audio, convert audio files, create instrumental tracks on GarageBand for accompaniment, and the list goes on and on. I am just making a vocal record of it by putting it in these vlogs because I want to remember how much I put into this up to this point, and I want to be able to watch my growth from here on this channel, episode by episode. Really hoping I get growth from it, but either way, I'll kick myself if I just go through life never having fully applied myself. So yeah, that's my daily rant about what I am hoping to get from this, where I'm hoping to go. I know that it might be a little redundant and annoying that I keep reiterating things I'm hoping to manifest, but you have to consider the fact that this is about more than true crime for me. I'm trying to connect with my fellow true crime obsessed people, but also I'm trying to connect with those who are supporting my art and my endeavors with creativity, because they're possible investors. Anybody that is considering supporting me on Patreon, and when you're trying to pitch a business plan to an investor, this is the kind of stuff they want to know. They want to hear about what you're envisioning, how you're planning on making it happen, and that is what I'm trying to do. So this will probably be a thing that I spend a couple minutes every episode just breaking down current events in my career with art, because I'm really hoping one day to look back on this and say, wow, I really started from humble beginnings, and look at where I am now. If me rambling about this stuff is bothersome, please feel free to let me know. I do want to put out content that is enjoyable and not annoying, so I would definitely cater to that. Of course, another way to shut me up about it is to subscribe to my Patreon so that I have the support I need to show you what I'm capable of and to show me what I'm capable of. But okay, that's enough of that. Thank you for joining me for episode 2 of True Crime Time Hop. My name is Ashley Robin, and I am an up-and-coming artist with a side interest in the real-life horrors associated with the dark side of human psychology. Elizabeth Short was born on July 29th, 1924 in Medford, Massachusetts, to parents Cleo and Phoebe Short. Shortly after she was born, her parents separated, and her mom stayed in Massachusetts, where she stayed, while her dad traveled to California. As Elizabeth grew, she grew into a beautiful, vibrant young woman who was known to always wear a flower in her hair. At the age of 18, she grew restless, as many of us did, and decided to leave her home state to travel to California with her father and get a little taste of that lifestyle. Her father offered her a place to stay and offered her to do housework and cooking to help him out instead of paying rent, which sounded like a good plan at the time, but then once she moved down there with him, she didn't really follow through on her end of the bargain, so he kicked her ass to the curb. By 1946, she was in San Diego, living with a woman named Dorothy, and in January of 1947, she told Dorothy that she was off on her next adventure, and then she packed all of her belongings and she left with a man named Red. Sadly, that was the last Elizabeth Short was ever seen alive. The next day, on this day, January 15th of 1947, her body was found in plain sight in the middle of a California suburb. It said that the person that spotted her initially thought he was looking at a mannequin because she was so white and because she was in 2 pieces. Upon closer inspection, he found Elizabeth Short laying there, cut in half just above her navel, a perfect clean cut straight across, and the 2 halves of her body were separated by a few feet. She also had her right breast removed. Her lady parts were cut up with crisscross slashes, and there was a tic-tac-toe game scratched into her hip. The corners of her mouth were lengthened by the knife about 3 inches in both directions, like a Joker-type smile. The case of her murder is still unsolved, but I would love to do a deep dive into the investigation that took place so far. From what I understand, it had some pretty interesting twists and turns. If this is something that you want to hear more about, comment below and let me know. One fun fact about the investigation, though, if you can really call anything related to a murder investigation fun, is the fact that 27 people claim to have killed her, but all had no substantial evidence to validate their claims. They were just trying to get the clout of saying they had some kind of tie to the Black Dahlia murder because it got so much publicity for how beautiful she was. It's truly a shame when you think about the fact that she had dreams of seeing her name in lights when she moved to California, and instead of being an actress, her name will now forever live on in infamy related to this story. Rest in peace to Elizabeth Short.